Hey, what's up, friends? It's Ray with Docket Timberworks. We're just putting up the finishing touches on this beautiful shagbark hickory bowl. So we turned it green, once turned. We actually cored it, took the core out with the McNaughton system. So if you want to see how we did this and see all the steps that went into putting this beautiful bowl together, stick around and check it out. And thanks for watching. So I've been trying to knock out some once turned bowls, and so now we got some shagbark hickory. Let's see what we can do with this. It's been a while since I turned it, but this is a good turning wood. Let's see what we do with it. Once turned, green, semi-green. It's probably been down for about a year, but we'll see how she goes. All right. All right, let's get the right chuck on there. Get our woodworm screw in. All right, we got a 5/16 drill bit for these Nova jaws. You know what, man? I think I'll put the small tenon on here, but I think I'm going to turn it back or get the outside roughed with the bigger jaws. You just get a better bite. Okay, so now what I mean by when I say better bite, what happens is you drill the hole and then the threads of the woodworm screw pull the wood blank against the face of the jaws. So if you have 2-inch jaws versus 4-inch jaws, the blank will be fitting against 4 inches of metal rather than 2 inches. So really the only drawback of using 4-inch versus 2-inch or even larger is the size of the blank and you getting your tool too close to the jaws. Okay, that's probably going to mess me up. You know it is. And so what happened right there, I was used to using the G3 chuck and grab the G3 key, but I'm using a Supernova 2 and now need the Supernova 2 key. Let's go. Recently I'd been turning cherry and maple, and then I hadn't turned anything hard like hickory or oak for a while, so it surprised me, you know, the difference in the densities and the hardness of the woods. Okay, so this bowl gouge is the very first bowl gouge I bought. It's a Hurricane 5/8 gouge, and I have it sharpened to a 40/40 grind, like famous for Stuart Batty. And I'm doing push cuts, trying to get this thing round and trued, and I'm doing it left-handed though, so I'm out of the line of fire. It's still got some bark on there, and that stuff's hard. I've been cut by shagbark hickory bark a few times just handling it. It's really brittle, very sharp bark, oddly enough, and it dulls your tools like crazy. Dulls your chainsaws, your turning tools, your bandsaw, anything that comes across it. It just dulls the crap out of it. So leading up to this bowl, I'd been turning like tea lights and once turned small bowls, and little weed pot bases to try and get some crafty stuff set up for craft shows and stuff. It's really nice to be able to turn a decent sized bowl again. Man, see, she's already starting to look good. I love hickory, or at least shagbark hickory. I don't think I've turned any other type. I just love the creamy sapwood, and then the dark heartwood, and then all the purple splotches that's in the sapwood. You know, speaking of that bark that's really hard and abrasive, it's a smart move to just get rid of it instead of trying to push cut through it and make like a weird semicircle. You know, just get rid of the bark, get it out of the way, and then ideally you should sharpen your tool after that, because it's tough stuff. Here we're up to 1,000 now. Man, you can tell it's semi-dry because look at how much of the little chips are coming off instead of ribbons. Lots of little chips going along with the long flowing ribbons. See, about now I should realize that my tool is dull. I should just go over and sharpen it, stop struggling, get it out of the way, and get on to turning at a faster pace. You know, it's hard to stop and sharpen once, you know, you're in the groove and you want to turn. Take a little off the top. Doesn't look like the pith wants to do anything. All right. a little bit of bark. We do the regular size tenon. I'd like to keep a nice good, no. This is pretty decent sized. Maybe we should core this one. Is it worth it? Maybe. Okay, let's go a decent sized tenon on it then. And just like that, plan A went out the window and we're on to plan B and possibly plan C. You know, I do everything kind of on the fly. I don't do a lot of thought out or planning. So I'm widening out the bottom so I can get a good strong tenon because I'm thinking about coring this, you know, using the McNaughton system. And with that, you have to have a good tenon. You have to have as big a tenon as you can possibly get. Sounds like the neighbor's got going some cool jams or something. All right, now that the tenon's formed, we can get back to work shaping this thing out. There it is, finally hit me. I got a dull tool. Hit the sharpener. You real quick. I'm still trying to teach myself how the platform sharpen. I don't know, hopefully one of these days I'll be able to take a class and actually get some hands-on training. I do everything by YouTube video, so I don't really have anything to compare or go off of. I don't have like a control for my tests. Tell you what though, that bark cooking on this grinder smells good. It smells like barbecue. So if you take anything out of this, friends, remember to sharpen and sharpen often, especially with hardwoods. It's not worth turning with a dull tool. So evidently hickory is pretty porous because I'm tripping on the end grain and the fibers that I can see, and I'm thinking that my tool's not cutting, but it's just the wood. It's been so long since I turned the hickory that I forgot how porous it is. So I kind of whittle away at this thing for not, you know, trying different techniques to get a good finish on it when it's just the wood. It's not smooth like cherry. You know, it's got you can see the fibers and the pores in it. So you can see I switched over to my little 3/8 bowl gouge that's got a 40/40 grind on it, and I'm trying to clean up the surface, thinking that, you know, the smaller cuts will help. You know, I'm not going to edit all this out. You know, I'm not a professional turner. I'm really new at what I'm doing, less than a year in. So, I mean, you're not going to get a perfect, you know, 10-minute bowl with me. It's going to be a struggle to sit through it, man. You're gonna you're gonna watch me kind of suffer and figure things out how I go, or how I, you know, learn as I go. It's just a repetition and feel and, you know, memory and learning that you get better. So yeah, I'll probably have to put chapters in this, because with the coring that I decide to do, this is going to be a long video, because I'm not going to edit that out either. You know, it's a coring's it's a trip. It's a process. It takes a while to get used to it. And I want to get this finish with the push cuts, because I know that the push cut leaves a better finish than even shear scraping does. So I'm really stubborn about this, and trying to get this perfect contour and this really clean cut with the push cut. It's finally sinking in that it's the wood and not me. And here we go again with the grub screw. You probably heard it in the background. That pulley's walking. Rikon has sent me a new pulley, new set screws, new grub screws. They should be here. I don't know. I've been out of town working all week, so, and I'll be out of town working again next week. So we'll try and get stuff worked out. Their customer service seems to be fast, so no questions asked either. I mean, they're sending it. So what I was doing was I was getting ready to set my pulley to the highest torque rating, you know, which is the first setting for maximum torque and lower RPMs. And then I seen that the motor pulley was loose, and then I was like, ah. And so I stopped. I tightened it down. I put some Loctite on it. And it's a process, because I have to unbolt my lathe from the stand and then rebolt it. It gets frustrating. So hopefully I can get this resolved soon. Stop recording. Okay, let's see what we got. Had to retighten that stupid set and grub screw again. Pretty frustrating. So you can see the noise totally changed. The noise went away for a minute. All right, so y'all know how I roll. I just wing it. And this was where I was going to put the initial cut, which was probably close to where I needed to put it, since this was only going to be a once turned. But I kind of chickened out and was like, nah, it needs to be a little bit thicker. So, you know, with experience, and once I get more comfortable with this coring system, I'll probably start coring bowls that thick. But in the end, I erred on the side of safety and re-cleaned the surface, and I'm going to go for a thicker bowl just to be safe. I don't want to go through the bottom, which is probably a good idea, because as it was, I go pretty deep into the bottom of the bowl, possibly into the tenon. Again, though, I don't measure anything out. I just eyeball it and then go to work. You know, I don't second guess myself too often. And, you know, I couldn't I couldn't comprehend just laying everything out and being perfect and precise about everything. I've just kind of go with it and roll with it type guy. Kind of, you know, I've always been that way. You know, a crazy construction worker, crazy equipment operator, you know, just hanging on by the seat of my pants. So what I'm doing here is I'm hollowing out what's going to be the core so that it has a better chance of drying even, like you would do any other bowl. If I would have left it solid, it would have took forever to dry and would have been just kind of like a dome of wood, and I still would have had to put a tenon on it and everything else. It's kind of a waste of time and effort if you don't hollow out your core before you core it. All right. That's good enough for guesswork. Alrighty then, let's see what we got going on. Alright, you guys really didn't miss nothing. I swapped out the tool rest for the coring rest. Took a diamond card hone to the blade. I kind of walked the blade around in the bowl to see if that was the one I wanted, and I have it angled where I think is going to be kind of a straight wall for a little bit and then go into a shallow curve. So I want y'all to get a good real feel for this. I mean, most of the coring demos and demonstrations and videos that you see, it's guys doing it perfect and smooth, and that's not how it's going to be your first dozen or so times. This is a process. It's not like regular turning. It can be violent, it can be jerky, noisy, full of catches. You have to be persistent. You have to think about it and rewatch other people's videos so you don't give up on it and just go off and sell this really expensive tool that you paid a lot of money for. It has a steep learning curve. All of them do. It's especially if you've got a low underpowered lathe like I do. Mine's a 14-inch Rikon, and it's only got 1 3/4 horsepower. All these videos where you watch Mike Mahoney or the woodcut guys or the Axminster guys, they're on big, robust or Vic Mark lathes with 3 horsepower. So don't get frustrated. and stick with it. What I'm doing right here is I'm trying to widen the kerf. Okay, so you want to widen your kerf, one, to get the chips and the shavings out, two, so that the actual curved knife has room to wiggle around in there. It gets hung up all the time in there, and you think you're cutting, or you're wondering if you're dull, but you're not. You're kind of like hung up on a corner. So the best advice I can give you is to kind of widen your kerf a couple of times as you go through there, and it'll make the process easier. It's really tricky. Sometimes you'll get a shaving at the tip of your blade, and you'll feel like you're cutting, but your blade isn't moving and no new shavings are coming out. Like I said, this is something you can't teach. This is something that you have to just go through the process multiple times and gain a feel from it. This is all experience. See, all that fidgeting right there just led up to now I'm finally cutting again. For like a full minute straight, I was sitting there and I was trying to work my way around the core and get back into the cut. It kind of sounds and feels like you're cutting, but you're not. You're kind of just trying to find your way. Sorry for the hat shot. I still haven't figured out the best angle to do all this yet. Okay, so I wasn't given, ninja chops or directions. I was kind of lining up the shaft of the handle and drawing a straight line through the curve of the knife to try and guess, educated guess, estimated guess, where the tip of my cutter actually is, because the end of the shaft of the handle where it's straight and the tip should co-witness, co-align with each other if your knife isn't bent. There we go. Like I said, this isn't a demonstration or a how-to. This is, you know, real life expectations of your first couple of cores. I mean, it's legit, it's real, you know. I'm not trying to say this is how you do it. I'm learning myself. I just want to be transparent and throw some reality out there. A lot of times you get a polished, perfect thing with social media, and it's so far from the truth of what normal people go through that it's not even funny sometimes. So I don't know, this might not be for everybody, but you know, I'm sure somebody out there appreciates, you know, a little dose of truth and reality every now and then. Okay, I didn't feel it. It feels like it almost wants to budge a little bit, and so what I'm doing is I kind of hand spin it and jam the tool in there to try and get some of these shavings out of the kerf in there and clean it up. It's close though, I can tell it's close. It almost wanted to wiggle a little bit. See, man, it's taking all this wiggling around and a little bit of widening that kerf out just to get back into the cut. It's surprising how long it takes to get back into the cut and find the actual cut. Okay. Okay, so some guys like to pop and hit these things out. I like to use my scrunch. A scrunch is a combination screwdriver wrench used for working on chainsaws. I've got a dozen of them everywhere, and they're just perfect for this. Oh man, see, I was kind of worried about that. I'm kind of deep in there. Yep. It'll work though.
Can you see
Not sure
my
if that was all
disappointment
worth
in
it or
that
not.
core? It's just
Okay.
like, man, all that work for this little thing? Really? What a waste of time, man. No, really, it's not a waste of time. It's a good learning experience. You have to get good at it somehow. So, you know, might as well be on some little things that aren't worth much, and you're not wasting, $100, curly maple blank or some walnut burl or something fancy, man. Just get your early learning hours out on some just average stuff that, sure, it might be nice to have a core or not. It doesn't matter. So right here, I'm hooking my pulley speed back up into the mid-range. I almost exclusively turn on the mid-range, except I'll step
Yeah, but
down
it definitely
into the
didn't
low
save any
range
time,
for
I'll tell you that
coring
much.
and occasionally go on to the high range for spindle work.
Turn everything back down. You gotta be kidding me, man. Oh well, finish this bowl, then I'm done with it, man. I'm done.
The noise came back. What happens is the set screw and the grub
So
screw, it's
done.
got a 2-screw system. They both loosen up enough that the pulley can walk back and forth on the motor shaft and create that noise. Now, normally I would have moved the camera to another angle for coring or hollowing, or turning out the inside of the bowl, but I forgot. So, unfortunately, y'all get a bunch of hat shot again in the back of my head. So, sorry about that.
I'm getting annoyed with that.
Okay, so I switched over to the little 3/8 gouge to try and clean up the inside and get a cleaner cut. And it's kind of iffy. I think I'm overhung a little bit and getting some vibration and some kind of chatter just from being extended past the tool rest more than I should be with a small diameter gouge. And actually, I'm kind of torturing myself right here. I'm extending this out longer than it should be because, I'm trying to do finishing cuts at a point where I should be still doing technically roughing cuts, taking off more material, getting closer to a final cut. I shouldn't be wasting my time with these small, time-consuming finishing cuts when I haven't gotten to the thickness that I need to be. I tell you what, doing these voiceovers and coming back and editing these videos is some of the best help I've ever gotten, to be honest with y'all. Uh, you know, because I'm really coming back and seeing what I'm doing when I'm doing it, and I'm thinking about it. So it's I think it's actually making me a better turner coming back and doing this final editing. Because I'm coming back and I'm looking at this video and I'm trying to think about what I need to tell you guys for a voiceover. And it's really making me look at what I did, what I'm doing, and, I'm seeing better ways and how I should have done things differently as I'm doing it. So, I'll just toss that out there for y'all. Start recording yourself throw it out there on YouTube and see what sticks, man. And then while you're doing it, you can always be self-coaching yourself with this stuff. It's almost like in football when you come back Monday and you got to watch the game tape, and everybody sees what everybody did and the coach calls you out. It's kind of like that. It's kind of cool. Give it a try. What's the worst that could happen? You don't get any likes or subscribes, so what? You're bettering yourself with it, though. So right there, I had a bright idea that I wanted a tapered in rim, and it turned out good. I love the bowl. I love the way it looks. This right here was a good decision and a good step to take. I'm kind of proud of it.
This is just a miserable hickory, man.
Yeah, so, I didn't get the finish that I wanted while I was scraping, so, you know, why not change up the plan and try it different, Give it a push cut. See how that does. It's been working for me so far. Why not again?
Dude, why can't we get that clean?
There you go. There you go. Now you're thinking.
Okay. Too flimsy.
Okay, so right here, I don't know what exactly happens. I picked up my Ellsworth gouge to finish out the bottom of the bowl, and it just jumps to sanding. So, y'all didn't miss much. I just finished out the bottom of the bowl with the 60-degree Ellsworth. It hit the bottom easier. It hit the bottom easier and was turned green, so it was, fine.
Alright, we're having technical difficulties with the camera. Like, mainly its battery don't last, and they won't be here till Tuesday, so we're going to finish this out. I did the sanding off camera. We'll put some abrasive paste on, and then we'll flip her around and see how she goes.
All right, I'm not going to make y'all go through the abrasive paste. It's Yorkshire Grit Original and Yorkshire Grit Microfine. It puts a beautiful finish. It's my favorite way of finishing stuff. If it's a bowl that I think I'm going to like, or it's a kind of highfalutin artsy piece, I use the Yorkshire Grit. If it's kind of in the middle of the road or a kind of more utility bowl, which this is, but I've wanted this bowl to shine. So middle of the road utility, I use my homemade abrasive paste.
Okay, so here we go. This is shagbark hickory. It's got the nice heartwood. I love the sapwood, actually, when it's got those heavy streaks of purplish in it. Man, to me, hickory's probably, at least shagbark. I haven't worked with any others. maybe one of the most underrated turning woods, because I think it's just absolutely beautiful. I love that cream colored sapwood. The contrast with the purple in it and the brown sapwood. So here's that crack I was talking about. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. This is turned green, so I mean it could really split wide open. But you know, it is what it is. Okay, I think I'm going to pause you guys while I put the cold jaws on there. That's pretty boring. I mean, there ain't no point in filming that. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit tricky for me. It's thin on the bottom. So I need to kind of shave away this shoulder right here and then do something, keep this foot. Which I don't normally like keeping those. I'd rather just have a flat bottom or something, but I went a little deep on the coring, so now we're dealing with it.
Okay, so like I just said, I'm not a fan of footed bowls. Maybe I haven't given one a try, but I usually do a flat bottom bowl, and we'll usually put a bead or something down in the bottom, or a couple of grooves or something. So this one's kind of difficult for me. I've never really blended the bowl into the tenon much. So yeah, it turns out okay. I don't know. I actually kind of like it. But I'm not comfortable and I'm freaking out because I don't want to screw this bowl up because I'm really liking the way it turned out. So, you know, I'm kind of putzing around, taking real ginger cuts, you know, probably taking longer than I should have, but I really wanted to finish this bowl and keep it together in one piece and not chuck it across a garage. It's real easy if you get a catch. You know, I've had a few bowls go really south removing the tenon. Just, it seems to be where I screw up the most. So I'm kind of just tapping around, seeing how much difference the noise is between the middle of the foot and the outer edge of the foot to see if there's a big tonal difference, telling me kind of how thin I am. I've come real close to being a member of the funnel club, but I haven't done it yet. I've gotten close enough where you can see through the bottom of the bowl, like totally see through, and if you could move it by almost breathing on it. So I mean, I've come that close to being in the funnel club, but not yet. This is some stringy stuff, man. It's pissing me off. Trying to get a good, clean finish on there. Trying to be careful. Trying to not fling the thing across the garage, and those little balls of string just keep balling up on me. It's it's pretty aggravating. So I grab my 1/2-inch spindle gouge, and hopefully I can get a better job of that done. You know, I'm kind of playing a dangerous game, but you got to be concave when it's green. You got to allow for warpage so that it'll still sit flat.
That's horrible.
Okay, I finally decided it's good enough, and I could put a little bead in there, or a groove, whatever you want to call it, and get on with this thing.
That's what I was worried about.
All right, that's about it. You know, I just do the abrasive paste on the bottom, kind of blend it in, make sure I didn't mess nothing up going up towards it with the sanding process. And yeah, that's the bowl. So thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around. I hope you all got something out of it. And we'll catch you on the next one. I'm bouncing back and forth the idea of scrapping this channel and starting a new one. I don't know what to do. I'm trying to find advice on it. I'm not getting a lot of feedback
Let's
yet,
get this
so
guy off
I
real
might be
quick so
posting
y'all can
back and
see him.
forth between two of them and seeing which one gets better performance.
A little bit thicker than I normally go, but I wanted this to be a good solid utility bowl. Bottom's pretty concave, so it should withstand the warping for being a once turned green bowl. I'm really digging this bowl. I think I might want to keep this one for myself and have this as my personal eater. It's pretty beautiful. So like I said, man, if you want to check it out, this should be a pretty cool video. I rarely core bowls. I need practice with it. But we did it on this one. Here, check it out. Not much of a core. I'm not sure if it was really worth the time and effort for it. But here it is. You know, it might be a cool little gimme. Little giveaway bowl or something, but, well. All right. Thanks for watching, friends.